Most people think that if you don't enjoy hosting, it must mean something about your personality that you haven't fully dealt with yet. Maybe you're less social than you should be. Maybe you're anxious. Maybe you secretly don't like people as much as you say you do. But here's the strange part. A huge number of people who don't like hosting actually like people a lot. They like conversations, they like connection, and they like showing up. What they don't like is what hosting turns them into while everyone else is relaxing. The discomfort usually shows up long before the event itself, and it doesn't feel dramatic enough to register as stress. It starts the moment someone casually says, "We could just do it at your place," and you hear yourself agree while your mind immediately jumps ahead. You picture the front door, the couch, the kitchen counter, the bathroom you suddenly remember you haven't checked yet. It just feels heavier than it should. The plan stops being a plan and becomes something you're now responsible for, and your brain recognizes that shift instantly. As the day gets closer, your thoughts start orbiting the event without you intentionally thinking about it. You're in the grocery store standing in front of a shelf longer than usual, holding two options and trying to imagine which one would make people feel more comfortable, even though no one asked you to do that. You start mentally running through who's coming and what they usually drink. Does this person like wine or beer? Does that person not drink at all? Should you have something non-alcoholic that still feels thoughtful? You add an extra item just in case, even though you know it might not get touched. It feels like preparation that never quite finishes. Then people start texting. What should I bring? Do you want us to pick anything up? And this is where something subtle but important happens. Instead of feeling supported, you feel like you've been handed another decision. You pause, trying to balance being easygoing with making sure the night actually works. If you say nothing, you worry you'll be short on something. If you suggest something specific, you feel controlling. You're suddenly coordinating drinks, food, timing, and expectations, and without realizing it, you've shifted from someone who's excited to hang out to someone managing logistics. You're not being dramatic when you think, "I feel like a manager." That's exactly the role you've stepped into. When the day arrives, time starts behaving differently. You clean things that have never bothered you before. You adjust lighting you usually don't think about. You keep checking the clock, not because you're nervous, but because you're mentally rehearsing transitions. When should drinks be offered? Too early feels forced, too late feels neglectful. When should food come out? You don't want people hungry, but you also don't want to interrupt conversations. Before the doorbell even rings, you're already juggling invisible responsibilities. And when people arrive, here's the part that confuses you the most. You're genuinely happy to see them. You smile easily. You laugh without forcing it. You like these people, but almost immediately, part of your attention steps back and starts tracking. You notice who hasn't been offered a drink yet. You clock when glasses are getting low. You're mid-conversation and still aware that you should probably offer food soon, but you're trying to find the right moment so it doesn't feel awkward. This is usually where people start mislabeling the experience. They assume they must not enjoy socializing, because if you enjoyed it, wouldn't this feel easier? But then you think about how different it feels when you're a guest. When you're at someone else's place, you don't have to decide when things happen. You don't have to think about what comes next. You accept what's offered when it's offered. You can sink into the couch, let conversations drift, and simply exist without monitoring the structure of the night. Silence doesn't feel like a problem. Timing isn't yours to manage. Hosting removes that permission. As the night goes on, a very specific moment tends to arrive. It's around 8 o'clock, not late, not early, just that point where your internal energy starts winding down naturally. You glance at the clock and realize you're ready for quiet. Not because you're bored, not because you don't like the people there, just because your body is ready to power down. In your mind, the evening feels complete, but no one else is showing signs of leaving. Someone pours another drink, someone opens another snack, a new conversation starts. If you were at someone else's place, you'd stand up, say your goodbyes, and be home within 15 minutes. No internal debate, no guilt. But because you're hosting, you can't just exit. Ending the night requires signaling, timing, and social navigation. You don't want to rush anyone, you don't want to make people feel unwelcome, so you stay up longer than you want to, even as your attention fades and your body gets heavier, wondering why something so simple feels so complicated. It's not the people, it's the fact that hosting doesn't let you disengage when your internal limits have already been reached. Your role doesn't end when your energy does. It ends when everyone else decides it's over. From the outside, the night still looks successful. People are comfortable, the conversation is flowing, no one is unhappy, and yet internally you're counting minutes instead of enjoying them. That disconnect often turns into self-judgment. You think something must be wrong with you for wanting it to end sooner. But what's actually happening is that your nervous system is done, and the structure of hosting doesn't allow you to honor that. This is also why the relief when the door finally closes is immediate. You don't collapse because you hated the night, you exhale because the role is over. The house gets quiet, your brain stops scanning. If you enjoyed it afterward, why was it so draining while it was happening? The answer is responsibility. Hosting isn't just social interaction, it's decision-making layered on top of social interaction. What to offer, when to offer it, what to provide. How to pace things, how to keep everyone comfortable without making it obvious you're doing that work. For people whose brains naturally track details and anticipate needs, that process never turns off. There's also something subtle that happens to your sense of personal space. Your home is usually where you don't have to think. When you host, it becomes something you manage. You apologize for things no one would have noticed before. It's not insecurity, it's awareness paired with responsibility. What makes this harder is the unspoken belief that enjoying hosting is a sign of being well-adjusted, that at a certain point in adulthood, you're supposed to love having people over, stay up late effortlessly, and make it look easy. So when hosting consistently feels heavy instead of fun, you assume you're behind, like everyone else figured something out that you missed. But people experience social environments very differently. Some people are energized by orchestrating experiences. Others are drained by it and shine when the structure already exists. Neither is better, they're just different roles. The problem starts when people who naturally notice everything try to pretend they don't. Here's the reassurance that matters most. Not liking hosting is not a flaw. It's not something you need to fix. It doesn't mean you're antisocial or ungrateful. In many cases, it means you're highly considerate and sensitive to responsibility in a way that isn't obvious from the outside. You care enough to notice, and that care costs energy. If you've ever felt like hosting turns you into a manager when you just wanted to hang out, you're not alone. A lot of people feel this exact thing and never hear it described. They assume it's just them. It's not. Connection isn't measured by who provides the space. It's measured by how grounded you are when you're there. And for many people, being grounded means participating, not coordinating. That's not avoidance, that's self-awareness. And if you kept thinking, that's exactly me, it's not because there's something wrong with you, it's because this is a really common experience that people rarely talk about.